Alright, welcome to a kind of late edition of What the Fuck Happenings in the YouTube Atheist Community and debate, whatever, and such. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Really not too much to report on. Just been busy, this and that. Cat. Yeah, wants feeding, no doubt. So yeah, not much to report on. Same old, same old. Yeah, I've just been busy with this and that. We're still working on the copying of the hard drive, which used to be just a routine process, and somehow I've learned how to screw it up. Yeah, I tried to change the size of the partitions, and somehow it went all wrong. I used Linux. Go figure. But anyway. It's like every program I went to, it said, "Oh yeah, it looks fine to me." Everything looks fine except, yeah, the data is completely corrupted and it's ruined. But anyway, so I had to do this whole recopying the slow way thing over, and then I'll have to delete all the files again, and then try to resize the partition again. And it's windy out here. And then I'll find that didn't work again. And I think I have a backup plan that's better than 30 hours of waiting and waiting. Not that I'm not without a computer. I mean, I have redundancy now, which is good. But you do get picky, once you get used to big screens. Little screens, a pain in the ass. Anyway, but speaking of that, the Android thing, I've been still working on those, and I found some interesting stuff, and we'll see if I can get something to do something interesting. So, which brings up Rational Access guy, Kiwi boy guy, Wayne, who's working on some programming add-ons to the formatting of discussion, let's call it, filters maybe, ways of consolidating. I don't know. We'll have to see how it comes out. See what direction it goes in, I suppose. I'm thinking of the same thing related to my toolbars. In terms of having these subject related. And then you could just pop each subject into the bar easy enough. And but it's that filtering thing is the key, is the figuring out what is the important content. And I think that has to be related to a kind of thing that Old Fan brought up, for our films, by having this idea of just asking questions and how much information you can glean through the asking of the question, and requiring somebody to answer the question. Is really so much of the conversation, is that there's so many people who will ask questions but they won't answer questions in conversation. And but everything can sort of be boiled down. You can get to the subject that's really the subject, get past all the crap being used as rationalizations, and get people to admit what is or is not a reasonable argument. You can't use escape arguments 1 minute that you call invalid the next minute. I mean, if you can invoke magic powers and super forces, you can't complain when somebody else does it then. But anyway, yeah, that's probably a way it's close enough way of saying it. Trying to think if there was anything else that really, nothing much happening. Everybody's a little, not everybody, but Old Fan's kind of had a rough week, and yeah, so it's a little progress on the next episode of Vlogger Dome, but it'll get done, no doubt, in some form or another. I mean, I can always resort to the act of desperation, and I can just make an hour-long video. Yeah, I can do that without too much trouble, right? So yeah, hopefully it won't come to that though. But yeah, it does give you the power to fail, because I have a failure plan. So anyway, a plan that incorporates the possibility of failure. Let's just put it that way. I failed to maintain the order that my house once had for a day or two, but it's not unrepairable. And trying a new camera lens thing. These flips work pretty good in low light, so I figured this might be a good camera for the indoor videos, and I use the other camera outside or something like that. It doesn't really matter. That's not something else you could. Who cares? You know, very few possibly care. Yeah, so I have to just try. You know, so put a little lens on here that should help make it so I don't have to do much aiming. You know, aiming won't be as critical. I have to replace the light bulb in there. You know. It's making it dark in here, which is okay. I sort of like the dark, but anyway, that's not really a subject either. I don't think there's much else to say. I figure I'm making a response video to a couple of things, but I just haven't gotten to it. Just been busy with all this other crap. You know, hello. You know, yeah. I mean, it's just there's stuff in your real life that you know, pulls you in different ways. And you know, it was my birthday the other day, which is, you know, it's kind of depressing and annoying. But this will be, you know, this you know, it's I guess it should, well, I'm trying to think of a word for the, it's not the round number, it's the in between the round number. You know, but it's the two numbers that are the same number, kind of a number. But it's just a preposterously huge number, and so it just kind of feels like the last year. It feels like a good year to go out on. But that's just a feeling, right? So it doesn't mean much. You know, yeah, you know, then that's another subject, right? This whole idea of intuition, because Hofstadter kind of relies on the sense that, or the argument that there's some real kind of intuition or innate knowledge, and I don't think we have any of that at all. So I mean, any sense of deja vu or intuition or gee, that sounds right, is it's usually traceable to some instruction you received, or conditioning, or brainwashing, or indoctrination into you know, having that as a familiar guidepost, or a familiar it's a tree you recognize, it's a tree you grew up with, kind of thing. And that's all that kind of stuff is. So I guess I've always sort of lived with a notion of you know, dying being associated you know, with some symbols of completeness, or you know, doing it in some right step kind of way. So it's like you wouldn't die on some idiotic year number, you know, like 54 or 56. You know, those numbers suck. So yeah, it would be some other kind of number. And so that's all that intuition is made out of, right? It's just a complete crap. But anyway, it's our nature to sort of, that's our intuition. Our nature is to become attached to recognizable, comforting symbols. And it's like I could watch, if I, you know, to say if I was having a bad day, you know, I could just watch a Mr. Ed episode or something, and you know, it takes you, you know, to some other time and place, simpler thoughts and simpler ideas, and it has a familiarity that can be comforting. You know, so there's lots of things that do that. There can be movies or whatever it is, but I'm just saying, you know, this is a psychological mechanism. And again, we're primarily psychological organisms, and, you know, attempting to, at least in this corner of YouTube, do something a little less psychological and a little more tediously careful and explicit, and you know, not I don't know, but I don't know how to, again, semantics, coming up with the right word to describe the fallibility and illegitimacy of our psychological crap and the way it invades not only the aggressiveness with which we defend and argue things because of our attachment to certain ideas, our psychological attachment. Yeah, but the arguments themselves are, rationalizations and crap, and that's the source of it, is that, psychological dependency. But it's sort of unavoidable in some of these big idea subjects, just because our psychological reaction is a reaction to a type of perceived holocaust, or a threat of rather significant and dramatic relevance. Yeah, if I told you you were going to be captured by aliens and experimented on in a laboratory and have, cancer injected into you, you'd have reason or cause to say, maybe we ought to talk about this. Yeah, this might be an important subject. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I think this qualifies as an adequate enough video. So anyway, sorry I've been inconsistent. Inconsistency is unsettling. I find it unsettling. I don't like when things change. I like things to stay manageable, even if they're not good. I just like them to stay, where I can figure out how to play the game. So I don't like being erratic, but it's sort of it's one of those kind of periods where I'm just, in a state where I sort of have to make certain things happen, and in both elements, in my virtual life and my real life, and I don't have a clue how to do that, and so it's just kind of a time for maybe just experimenting and playing with crap and seeing where it goes. Because I don't have really any other way to figure out how to slide into this circumstance. It's like sliding into this old age thing. I know it's not old age, but it's old age, and I don't like sliding into it. I don't, I have to find some way to do it. That's not dislikable. That doesn't take doesn't strip you of passion and purpose. It doesn't depress the fuck out of you so much that you just say, fuck it. Yeah, I gotta figure out a way to make it turn into something. But anyway, it's rolling around right now. So, thank you to the people who participated the other night. Yeah, it was mostly just conversational. I mean, it's just like a couple of people, kind of long conversations with a couple of people. And at a time, just very, not a very distracted conversation, just kind of pointed and direct, and it's quite adequate, and such. So yay to those participants, appreciated it, and till next time.